Hold on. Hey there. Sorry about the little hiccup. I was not ready to go live. I had my radio playing, so I had to put the kibbutz on that. Okay, so I figured people who watch this channel, it's always been my belief, my strong opinion, that, I'm sorry, my chair again, that you have a right to know who you're listening to. And so I want to give you some of my thoughts on these topics. Um, I might pull up a link or two, I'm not sure yet, but I really just want to give you my overall thoughts and insights. I've been praying on these things. God has, I believe, been revealing more things. The deeper you go into your research and your study and, into ancient texts and into current media, you realize that there's definitely more than meets the eye happening here. Now, I am going to use a few words and terms that I've used in past videos. You might want to go back and check those out, not because I need the views. You see, I have just a few subscribers, but I value all of you. And you can still understand this video moving forward, but I am going to use a few terminologies that I've used in past videos, like proxies. So you might want to know what that means. Sorry, I'm all discombobulated because I was not ready to go live yet. And I pushed the wrong button. I don't like, once again, these mouses on these laptops. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is the weaponization of weather. I mention this on my channel from time to time, and then bigger channels always like do a reply, but they never say that it's my channel they're talking about or it's me they're replying to. Just know that I know that's what you're, you know, responding to. Um, and let's be real careful not to be polarizing here. When I say something, that is what I mean according to my current knowledge base, according to what I currently have available to me, just like anyone else. I don't know what I don't know. With more information, I could change my mind, but I might not change my mind. Human beings do that. We change our mind. Just like I told somebody, gee, I don't know, maybe I'd vote for Trump if he had a Catholic there in the White House with him. A couple of days later, we find out Vance is a Catholic. This video is going to have high strangeness sprinkled throughout because, again, I believe that I know these people. I believe that they walk beside us every day. And I know that what they use on the screen are just proxies. Now, are they AI or something else? I don't really want to get into that right now. I will address that topic. But right now, beginning this video, let's talk about weather and what man is able to do, not able to do, according to, insofar as influencing the weather. So I want to talk about that a little bit, again, just off the cuff, because you have the right to know who you're listening to. And there are other channels that can pull up like the patents and all this, and I want to address that as well. Um, and they're good at what they do. So I would refer you to them. There's a reason I don't dwell in this area. I am not physics girl. I'm very open about that, and I'm very open to learning more about true science, true repeatable hypotheses and the scientific process, okay, through elimination and things like that. So if I have more information, I could change my mind in the future. But please don't run with 5 little seconds of what I say and go make a video talking about, oh, I know it's weather weaponization, blah, 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 and you should too, and blah. Calm down. It's not that serious. Okay. Whatever is, is. And the more we learn, the closer we come to that undeniable truth, because truth is undeniable. If a thing is fluid, is it true? Chameleons are fluid. That's the truth of them, right? So again, let's be very careful and not assuming what I mean. Just go with what I'm actually saying. So I'm gonna play devil's advocate, and I'm gonna give you some pros why I believe in weather modification and manipulation and weaponization, and I'm gonna give you some cons of why I don't believe that everything is weather modification, weaponization, dues, all these technological interfaces with nature. Okay, so let's start with the patents. First of all, when you have patents, you can pull up anything with a this is why I try to tell you young people, you can't rely on digital anything. Anything digital can be altered and hacked. Let me pose a question to you moving forward. If you were to rob a bank, right? Which is the easiest way for you to do it? Would you prefer the days where you had to go physically to the bank and figure out a way into their safe and the safe deposit boxes to get to the keys and the stocks and the bonds? Would you prefer breaking into a bank that way? Or would it be easier for you if you were a hacker and you had some knowledge behind you to just clickety clack at your computer and transfer funds and rob a bank that way? This is why I tell you physicality, we are in the world of the physical mostly. The physical filing and documentation and safeguarding of those documents is much safer, is much more secure than digital. You need to understand that anything digital can be changed. This is why, with the Mandela effect, I'm sorry, but you need to throw out things that are brand changes. Unless you have the physical shirt and the physical, like I have a t shirt with Curious George on it. I wear it all the time in my videos. I used to. It was my son's. And there's no tail on him. Not a tail. I would swear he had a tail because he used to hang out of the trees and hide from the man in the yellow hat. And then he would steal his hat and go back up into the tree, right? But now he has no tail. So how is he coming down from the tree if he has no tail? But physical items, physical clothing, physical books, this is what you need first to start. This is just the beginning. Z says, I will send you the forums they use later on today. They have it. You're not listening to me. Again, I'm right here speaking to you, and you're still not listening to the words coming out of my mouth. Let me finish. Or I can just turn the comments off if everybody's going to assume what I'm saying. I will send you the forms. We're not even there yet. Can I tell you my thoughts first? Can we be mature adults? Okay? Patents can be fabricated and manufactured online. I'm not flipping out. Trust me, this is not me flipping out. But I am going to be stern when it comes to truth because truth matters. Truth is important. This is, again, I'm feeling like somebody is trying to manipulate me into their way of thinking. Let me tell you my thoughts on it first. I had an uncle in the Navy. He talked about cloud seeding. I know that that's the basics. I know that those types of things are real. I know that they put barium and stramamine, and I looked into the chemicals that are actually in the chemtrails to try and discern if that is some type of what did I match it up with? Anesthesia, right? If you go back to my alien videos, I talk about that there. So I know that they do put chemicals in the air, free radicals. I used to be a cosmetics manager back in my one of my previous lives. And when you start there, like I had to get a book this big. It was no joke back in the day. And I had to learn everything about natural substances and synthetic man-made things. And then I had to learn about free radicals, the damage that those man-made solutions and chemicals can cause. Okay. Now, again, this is how all of these people are with me. I will send you the forms they use later on today. They have to file NOAA forms that list all kinds of chemicals that they spray for modification. I'm not disagreeing with you. Like, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not even to that point yet. Okay. And I'm not flipping out. Truth is important. Truth matters. And I have people like this in my everyday life trying to manipulate me and trying to sway my opinion. Let me come to the information, just present the information, and let me come to a conclusion, hopefully a well-educated and informed decision once I have that information, right? Okay, so we know these things to be true, pretty much. This is what and again, the power of the mind is hugely, vastly more significant here than they tell you. If you believe that they're harming you, then they will harm you. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not even gonna, it had to do with, but I will just see, and I said, send me the forms. I'm not physics girl. I need to learn. Please send me the forms. That's not a problem. But I will just STF you. You must be somebody who's younger to have that type of like aggressive attitude right off the jump. And this is why I try to be very careful when I'm talking about this topic. Okay. Again, let me finish. Let me get through what I'm trying to say. I've already investigated the chemicals that they spray in the air and what we believe to be chemtrails. Okay. I already understand the basics. I know that they say that they have this ability. But again, let me play devil's advocate. And what a person means, in case you're young and you don't know what that means, when someone plays devil's advocate, it means I'm going to defend a side that I'm not even on, right? I'm going to go to that other side that I oppose just so I can change my perception and maybe learn something in the interim while I'm doing that. So when I say play devil's advocate, I mean I'm going to look at both sides, even the one I don't agree with. So does that sound fair? I think that's fair. Okay. So before we begin the actual science of it, let me also tell you placebo effects are vastly important here. This is why they do what they do with the screens and the television. This is why you have people saying they're Christians because they want to sway this group of individuals. Why this group? Because it is a spiritual war. Okay. So the mind is very, I keep saying very, I'm sorry. The mind is powerful. It is a powerful tool like a computer, only it can manifest, right? Self fulfilling prophecies. If all you're thinking of is gloom and doom, you're going to lead yourself to gloom and doom. All right. You need to stay somewhere in the middle as far as things go and not get reactive and not flip out and not do these types of things. This is not a topic that I'm really like attached to. Again, I'm willing to accept more information because I don't know a whole lot about it, but I have studied it. My problem with this is that let's suppose that they're saying they're doing all this, right? But it's not allowed, right? Like in natural law, they're not allowed to do this. And I'm going to get to the consent in one moment. If they have everybody believing this information, whether they're putting something in the air or not, it's going to start to affect people's health and well-being because you believe it. This is why I try to be very careful with these types of talks. Believe, accept, and receive only what you need, only what actually resonates and feels and seems to be true. But just because they say that they have this or have that doesn't make it so. So again, I'm going to play devil's advocate and you're going to see me bounce from side to side. All right. I know cloud seeding exists. I know that free radicals exist. Those are harmful chemicals that are put in the air by our daily living through the Industrial Revolution, just through coal production. We should be using steam powered productions like they did with star forts. We should be using steam energy. That's my opinion. Um, if you want to come to your own conclusion, then I will let you. That's what I mean by being quiet. I'm 42, so not really young. Okay, that's fine. No, send me the information so that I can read through it. You know what I mean? Because I also know that my mind processes information different than most people. But sometimes that's it. That's a good thing for all of us, right? To step outside of your own view and kind of look at things from a different view. And that's what I try to do when you guys send me information is to say, okay, what can I learn from this? What can I take away from this? What can I retain from this? So I know allegedly, and I'm going to say allegedly, even if we know it's almost true, I don't actually see it, so I don't know it. The only thing I believe in without sight is the resurrection, is God, because there's evidence of God everywhere, okay? But you would do best to follow this because when I was gullible and I believed everything people told me, their words had an effect on me, you see. I don't know how many people told me, you're going to get the big C, you're going to get the big C, you're going to get the big C. It's all been a production. They want me to have that dis-ease. I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. But these people, that's all they kept saying this to me. If I would have believed that and accepted and received that, I could have declined quickly, especially with how powerful my thoughts are, because I spend so much time secluded and isolated. The more that's done to a person, the more sensitive they are to all of these things. So again, this is why I say when I pray, I I pray. Usually I say again, I'll use the Woodstock analogy. When they were at Woodstock, they kept saying, no rain, no rain, no rain. And Jim Morrison was leading it. What did they get? A bunch of rain. The fact that they had the word no in front of it didn't matter because they kept saying rain, rain, rain over and over. So the only thing I really use a negative on is I say I do not consent to chemtrails. I only consent to clear skies and clean air. Say it every morning. I haven't, usually I don't have a problem with them. Sometimes if I forget, I do. And I'm not saying that it's all me and I'm magical. I'm saying it's God. I ask and I receive. And that's how it happens for me. Um, so remember that God is bigger than all of this. And this is another reason I avoid the tech talks is because not everybody has the money to protect themselves physically from these EMF rays and ultraviolet rays and from the chemicals. Not everybody understands how to detox from that stuff. And not everybody can afford to do that, right? I know I can't. I can't afford to go get Faraday cages and this, that, and the other. So what do I do instead? Well, I go with natural things, natural vitamins, but I also pray over my food, over my health, over the crops in the area. I pray for other areas when they're having a drought. I ask that the Lord give them rain for their crops. Not always, not always, not if it's a place I know that's wicked and I tell the Lord, your will be done. Help these people, help them survive, let them get through this, but your will be done. Um, so again, God is bigger than all of this. You can protect yourself from it. That's why I tell you to be careful what you accept, receive, and believe. Okay, let's move forward. So, weaponized weather, my problem with the concept. We're going to talk from a spiritual standpoint, okay? I do believe that you can weaponize the weather. I do believe that. However, I believe that this technology that we came from beings in the creator's hierarchy that have been here longer than us. Okay. So let me explain that just a little bit because this has to do with your consent and how you can protect yourself. See, I lost people there, but they don't want the full truth. They're going to run with what they think I said and go make some video or some rash post without actually listening to somebody. It's just I can't deal with it anymore. I just have to laugh at it because I don't understand that behavior. Even when I'm even when I'm being stubborn and like I'm acting childish, right? I usually stand there and listen and get yelled at. Usually. Like if I feel like things are gonna go to a bad place, I walk away. Because that's the adult thing to do. So I wrote a few notes here just so I wouldn't mess up the way I want to say this. So weaponized weather. I believe that the technology we have came from the fallen angels, the Sumerian Anunnaki gods. There was a piece of fuzz, I apologize. The ancient ones, however you want to say it. I always look so greasy in here, but I don't know. I don't feel like I look like that. Anyways, I believe that that technology that we have came from the fallen ones. Okay. And if you read the Sumerian text, if you read the book of Enoch, if you read Jubilees, if you read Jasher, it talks all about these beings. That's why those books are not canon. They don't want you knowing that they are here with you. They took all of that information and reworked our history to hide the ancient ones. They had to hide themselves so we would stop believing in God, the maker. Let me move forward with this because again, this has everything to do with weather modification and the alleged Christians on YouTube saying they're Christian, but they are not Christian. I'm telling you flat out, they're not. They want you to believe certain things because number one, they want you depressed. They want you scared. All right. They say they're not fear mongers and they're bringing you truth. Okay. Why do you have 200, 300,000 subscribers? Why are you visiting this YouTuber and that YouTuber doing the hand signs everywhere? Why are you on the circuit at all these conferences? If truth is what matters, why are you taking money for it? I mean, if it's just for truth, if your main purpose is truth, the money should be secondary. That should follow, right? If you're doing something that is your passion, that is like your purpose or a part of whatever, right? That is true to you and to God, the one who made you. If you're doing something like that, the money, the prosperity should follow you. So weaponized weather is able to be done through these technological devices that the angels in heaven were given by the creator, because the angels were the helpers and they helped to fabricate the whole realm. This is why some of them don't like us, because we came after them and we shouldn't be above them in the hierarchy and blah, 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 blah. Just whine, whine, whine. And they say that we whine and that we have like this victim mentality. No, no, no. That's how they are. And if you don't suck up to them, if you don't kiss their butt, if you don't tell them how great and wonderful they are, well, then they just can't. They've got to get rid of you. You're a peon that needs to be gotten rid of. This is how these beings see us. And Gordy Rose told you years ago, RFB shows you those videos all the time. Yes, I know that weather is and can be weaponized. However, these fallen ones were given these attributes. They were given the know-how. They were given the know-how to build these devices through their sigils, through their alchemy. When man does it, it's witchcraft. When an angel does it, it is one of the attributes that the creator maker gave them. So what we're seeing when we see weather modification is we are seeing the fallen angels, the ancient gods of old that people worshipped, right? The little g gods, the ones that are being worshipped now again. The Sumerians, the Anunnaki, Enlil, and Enki, they're all the same beings. They just renamed themselves. The Phoenicians, the Atlantis. Atlantis? Atlantis says, I don't know what, Atlanteans. Ha. Okay. So they are only able to do this through the know-how and the attributes that God, the Most High Creator, Maker, Fabricator, Geppetto, gave them. If it was not for the attributes that God gave them, they would not be able to weaponize the weather against mankind. Okay? So this is vital. They are using the attributes that the Most High Creator, Maker, Fabricator, whatever you choose to call him or her, or both, is up to you. Again, I don't believe in forced conversions or anything like that. So they misuse these attributes. And what does that mean? When you misuse an attribute, you're inverting it. And once you have inverted something, you have corrupted it, you have perverted it. So they are using the beautiful attributes that God gave them, because you have to understand, just like city planners, each angelic being, and again, that we have to change our mentality of what these are, okay? They look different. They're probably partly mechanical. They are partly technological. They don't have emotions the way human beings do, but they do love. And most of them do love us and they love to help us, right? This is why you ask God, send me the holy angels to help me because I need them, right? That's what Daniel did. And he fasted to get the help. So this is where the crux of the problem lies. They are using the beautiful attributes, the abilities. That's like me taking the gift of art that God gave me, and instead of drawing puppy dogs, rainbows, and butterflies and being laughed at by other adults, that's like I would start drawing demons, which I did for a time, and darkness and wickedness and debauchery. Okay, so they are taking their job, their responsibility that God gave them and gifted them to be able to do, their purpose. And because they fell and they rejected the estate, they still have the abilities. That's what people don't know. Like, remember, they still have all the stuff God gave them. God doesn't take away like that. not your inherent nature, right? God gives you the choice. Are you going to use the gift he gave you for something beneficial, for something benevolent, right? Or are you going to do something malevolent with it? These beings, the ones who fell, the ones who come into our homes without consent while we're half asleep because we're not protected and prayed up. And then they tell us that they're alien beings. They are not benevolent. Anything that manipulates your consent or goes against your consent is not benevolent. Benevolent is good, beneficial, benevolent, malevolent, right? It's detrimental, it's bad, it's wicked. Because of this, because they have corrupted the attributes that God gave them, this is where the good part comes in. It's not always going to work for them. It's up to God, the Most High, whether or not they're able to actually pull things off with their weaponization, okay? But it definitely is happening, and it is possible. But let me play a devil's advocate, and I'm going to go the other side. It is so easy to forge things digitally because you can't see a physical seal and you can't see the original copy. Okay. I tried to show you a little bit yesterday with those newspaper clippings. You could tell which ones were actually newspaper clippings because they were clipped from a newspaper and had like the edges of the other stories on it, right? That's legitimate. That's not fraudulent, right? It doesn't look fraudulent, at least at first glance. So this is why I try to teach you that, or not teach, but pass along the knowledge I have. So when you see patents for things online, remember this, that there are a lot of witches and warlocks. And yes, they're not human beings. Like it's not people who play with stones and tarot card readers, although I wouldn't recommend divination through a thing like that for another person for money. Though, again, that is a corruption of the gift that God gave these people. It is very possible that you have a gift of being psychic. That's not what God calls it, though. God calls it prophecy. You have the gift of prophecy. And if you are using it to garner money from people or to put fear in them or to somehow use that person and play with their mind to elevate yourself, again, that is a perversion. That is witchcraft. That is using what the Lord gave you in a corrupt, perverse way. It's now inverted, and so it's corrupt. Just like computer language, what do you do with a corrupt file? You delete it. If we remain corrupted here, we will get deleted. This is why I try so hard to get people to understand these things and like to break through these stones of heart, these hearts of stones, and this cognitive dissonance helmets that everybody seems to be wearing. So on the other end, flip side of this, it is very easy to fake a patent. Anybody can do it. Anybody can put something online and say, I found this patent. Why would they do that? Because again, you have actual witches and warlocks and sorcerers operating in the government. I started reading you the book. It's a 3-book series that talks about how the political roots of America, how politics itself is a cult, how cults like the family, where Charles Manson came from, have played a big part in politics. Where did all those children go from Waco that grew up? Sometimes they will tell you some are deceased, and then they will use them and put them in a place, just like we saw with the Mara Delhi case or Delaney case. Is she actually missing? She's a politician now, even using the same name. It's all a show. They're proxies. But again, I know the people that they're representing. You don't have to believe me, but I'm gonna warn you about what's coming. You don't have to believe me, but you can't say you weren't warned. Okay. So patents and things like that, we can't always believe them because we have people wanting to use our gifts against us. They want us to use our own power of our minds. They want us to dwell on these things. So if you believe that there's a patent out there for something that can target just you in your one little house from way up there, whether it exists or not, it's going to start to cause you harm because you have consent over yourself. So if you start to believe something somebody tells you about an illness or a dis-ease of the spirit, we're talking spiritually, wink, wink, okay? What happens when the doctor diagnoses you? You go right immediately into treatment. Most people don't get a second opinion. What if the doctor's wrong? What if he's lying? What if he's been paid to lie to you because you're somebody who's elevated in society and they don't want you around anymore? You believe that you have this thing that they say you have, so now you start getting ill. So now you're having symptoms. You didn't have any symptoms until they diagnosed you. In fact, you felt great. How many times do you hear that? I was so lucky that I went to the doctor because they told me, they caught this really quickly. And again, I'm not a doctor. No part of this is medical advice. This is speculation, opinion, and strong opinion based on years of experience of dealing with these individuals. That person took their life away and quit watching. Like, this is what it is. This is what is happening. Okay? Stop idolizing these big YouTubers because you think they give a hoot. They still travel, they live their life, they have a great life. I don't see them doing much for you. I don't see these politicians doing much for you. None of them come and cut my grass. None of them buy me dinner. None of them take me to church. I'm just saying. None of them eat dinner with me. None of them laugh with me. None of them cry with me. Please stop idolizing these people. It is not good for you. You can cause yourself harm. Just like people have watched me and they say, I hope you realize sooner or later you're doing this to yourself. They will use your own mind against you. Whatever gifts you have, whatever talents you have, they will turn that against you if you allow it. Same thing with the weather. Even God's fallen angels end up working for him by default because he's still the big boss. And just like vampires, if you get rid of the big boss like they want to, all of us cease to exist. And that's what they want. They want to be done. They don't have joy. I wish they did. I wish there was a way I could change that. When I had those nightmares as a kid that I've talked to you guys about, and there was I told my dad about it. It was my dad, but then he unzipped himself and there was a troll inside. You have no idea how much that has helped me in like understanding that not everybody has the same heart as me. But always in my dreams, that's always what I did. I tried to get along with these things and, please, you have to understand, or I'll be nice to you. I'll cook for you. I'll clean for you. I'll do all. It doesn't matter what you do, right? So let's get to the next part of this. So I do believe in weather modification. I do believe it can happen, but I also know that there are people out there pretending to be Christian channels, just like Trump pretended to be Christian because they want your adulation, they want your views, they want your votes, they want your loose energy, your soul energy. They can't take your actual soul because they don't know where it's at. That's what they're always looking for. They can't actually take that, so instead, they try to suck up all your energy. They make me sad on purpose just because they want my tears. When my dog was crying, "Oh, come here, honey," he said to me, look just like my mother. Only wants a hug when I'm full of pain and not for my betterment, to suck up that energy because they're the ones doing things around here to harm us all, me and my dogs. But again, I'm using my testimony to try and shine a light for you guys. All of these things have been a domino effect, and I've been talking about them since the first channel. So now we're going to talk about politics a little bit, but one more thing about the weather. These people who are pretending to be Christian, how do I know they're pretending? Because they are giving all of the credit, all of the glory to mankind, to these devices. It's weaponized weather. It's the military. It's the Stop it. Stop, because that's how we get in trouble every time. Call on the one above all of this, God, the maker creator. He is still in control of all this. And just because the fallen angels are misusing their gifts and their attributes that the Most High God gifted them with, some of them are able to control the weather. And instead of helping us, they're harming us. God sees that. God is at the top of this. So just think about your hierarchy in human resources. You go through the chain of command, but what happens if that chain of command is corrupt? You go to the big boss at the top. That's why I tell the Luciferians, man, my boss is your boss's boss. My God, my king, is the boss of your king, your master. My king is the boss of your master. I go to him. If he allows this weather stuff to happen, then he allows it. But that's how you know a Christian channel, because they're giving mankind the credit and glory. And by glory, again, God is not a narcissist. This is our human brains using human words to describe a God that is magnificent and beyond our comprehension, that he created the sun, the moon, he, she, it, they, whatever you prefer. Okay? That's our perception of saying, wow, this is a glorious God. This is an awe inspiring God. This is an awesome God. Those are our words that we give to God. Okay? So if God seems narcissistic, it's because of the way we're applying our words and the stories. Because I know as a parent that I don't want my child's worship. I just want some of their time and their love. And actually, that's what true worship is where your mind spends the majority of its time and where your heart dwells, no matter where you go, where your heart dwells. That's what worship means. It doesn't mean to bow down to some narcissistic Jabba the Hutt type being who has a chain around your neck like you're Princess Leia. That's not God. That's not the true God. And these people who are talking about being Christian channels, and they're all in the same club, and they have like their little pyramid schemes with the products that they sell and the dry food and the survival stuff. I'm not saying any of that's bad on its own. I'm saying that produces agenda, that produces loyalty to other people and companies, and that makes it harder for these people to speak truth because they have sponsorships, because they have relationships with other channels. Glorify God the Most High so people remember there is someone above all this that we can go to and ask for help. All we have to do is ask, because that's our consent. Nobody's asking now but a few of us. So you're not receiving. You're not getting help because you're not asking for it. You're not getting help to rid your skies of the chemtrails because you're not praying for that. You're not praying them away. We are higher than them in the hierarchy. And once they fell, actually, we're kind of equal to angels. But once they, even though they're more magnificent or whatever, in the hierarchy, they were asked to serve us. That's just how it is. Okay? The fallen angels are below us because they gave up their estate. And you know what's great about that is certain saints are going to take up their seats in heaven. And they are going to take up, whether that's a seat at the council, whatever principality they oversaw, a human saint is going to be elevated to all those positions that are open, because there is no vacuum. There never is a vacuum. There is no open, empty space anywhere. So when you're watching these people who say they're Christian, who are they giving credit to? Who are they pointing to? Is their whole channel always in some way pointing back to the maker, trying to get you to have a relationship with your parent again? Because it's good for you, because they care about you. Stop idolizing these channels and giving them your worship, your time, and your money, because that's all they're here for, is your energy and your money and what you can give them. It's not about what they can give you. This is why people who are on councils, leaders, kings, politicians, policemen should have a servant's heart. You shouldn't be in those positions unless you're willing to and you want to serve and you're willing to be stepped on to do it. Back in the day, that's what a good landlord was. Villages loved their king or their landlords because they were good to them, because they were one of them. Okay? So the next part that I want to move on to is the Trump and Musk feud. This is what you're going to see happen here. And again, if you missed this part, way back in 2017, I started finding things in my computer and I started going through things because my family was acting weird. And when you're on Google, all that stuff is open to each other. Now, I didn't go into my son's stuff. I just looked at the history in our home computer because they had their own phones and devices. And there was a lot in there about Musk. And there was a lot, it looked like, had come from our computer, right? Not that they were searching Musk, that they were putting out information about this individual. So the Trump and Musk feud is a setup. It's like, think wrestling. They're big wrestling fans, right? The Trump and Musk thing is a setup feud. Why? Because you're going to see Vance and Musk partner up in some type of way, and Vance is going to be elevated. Trump is allowing this to happen. You see how humble he is. I tell you, he looks like a political prisoner. The way he just like sits and he puts his hands and, oh well, I don't know if that's fake humility or if he's actually like just wore out. And again, I don't think it's the same individual playing the part this time. Again, I know these people. You don't have to believe me, but I know the actual people that represent the proxies. Some of them, not all of them. So this feud that they're having now, I'm not sure if Trump is going to get pushed out of the way, if you're going to see some type of takedown attempt again with him. I'm not sure what's going to go on there. I'm still praying on that. But I know that the feud with him and Musk is mostly for show, and it was planned all along because, again, they're going to elevate certain people. And you're going to see Musk and Vance because their ideology, their theology is similar to one another because they both believe in the AI stuff. Now, people say, but Musk warned us about AI. Sure, he did. Again, he told you what he was doing. Did he actually warn you, or was he just warning you, right? Was he warning you like a prophet, like, hey, watch out, this is coming? Or is it more of a warning that's a threat? Like, this is what AI is going to do. Hey, I told all of you guys. I told y'all you can't say anything. Because again, that's part of their religion. Okay. So their ideology is not on point. It's not totally matched, but it's definitely closer than Trump and Musk because Trump is of the old age. And what I need to impress upon you the most about these young ones who are running things, they are using AI, all right, so that they can run things from behind the scenes. These kids are young. They're all just turning 22 this year. 22, there's that number again. My youngest turns 22 this year. The one who had a baby on 6/6, 24, 2 plus 4 is 6. Ha ha ha. And again, I think a lot of what they're doing is gaslighting. To show me certain things. For whatever reason, they know who or what I am, and they like to torment people like us. This is what they do with targeted individuals because you have a gift of prophecy or because you have a gift of insight and foresight. And so, again, like everything else, they want to hijack that and use that for their own good. Well, how can we use this to benefit us, our side, our team, right? Sammy is snoring. I apologize. Oh gosh. This chair is so low, but if I get a higher one, then there's no room for the legs. So I'm not sure about this desk, but I'll keep going. Okay. So this was planned. You're going to see what these young ones want is for this older generation, the boomers, they want them gone. Okay. Gen X is as old as they're allowing to be present and accounted for and participating in society. You will see more and more houseless people who are topped out of their rent, capped out, and who are living in their cars. You're going to see a lot of that. If they don't have children, if they don't have families, you're going to see a lot of these people subjugated, basically. And I don't know how else to say that, so that's how I'm going to say that. So you're going to see Vance be risen up. Now, what I want to tell you about him is, again, he is a deceiver. That night, and I did a testimony video on this, that night they were trying to bully me to vote. I said, I would, maybe I would consider voting if somebody in the White House was a Catholic. And the next day, they announced that Vance was a Catholic. And I told you all along, Vance, Russell Crowe, these people, not Russell Crowe, Russell Brand, these people saying that they're Catholics aren't, number one. Okay. They don't understand anything about the doctrine or basic baptismal vows. They obviously didn't undergo that. And when you're born again, like that's That's different with a Catholic. Like, it's a process. So if you get baptized, you better then be going for your confirmation as well, no matter how old you are. So again, a lot of these people are saying there's something, and why does it matter? I don't care what religion the leaders are. I really don't, as long as they do what's best for the people, as long as they lead strongly but humbly. Um, However, when a person lies about who they are as a being, about their gender, right? About their whatever it is, that if they're putting forth a false presentation, if they're wearing a mask, if they lie every single day about who they are, and we all do to some extent just to survive this society, that should tell you it's wrong the way we're living. The fact that you have to fake it to make it, that should tell you this is wrong. And you still have intelligent, well spoken men of color who have channels and claim to be believers with the totally wrong headset and mindset. All right. So I don't care so much what religion he is. My problem is that he lied about it. When a person lies about who they are every single day, you cannot trust any other thing they do. You can't trust anything they do. Now, people can earn trust back. I do believe people can change, and I do believe that alcoholism, addiction, certain things like that, absolutely have an effect on a person's behavior. So I'm not saying not to forgive. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying these people are out to deceive. It is their job to deceive you, and I'm trying to pull away that curtain so you can understand they're just regular people like you and me. The one playing Vance, like again, he's a kid I worked with, and looks just like him, only a little bit younger. Even their school pictures look the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same individual. Again, they're using AI. AI has been around longer than you know, and they're using it, right? And they're using these silicone masks when they're in person to pretend that they are these people. Isn't it ironic that, like, the Queen and the Pope both died and passed within 5 years of each other? They couldn't announce that at the same time because it would have been too suspicious, because it is suspicious. Because Satan is going around and taking out all of the top players on the board and making room for his boy to raise him up, boy or girl, because I'm still on the fence about that and I don't want to discuss it right now. So you're going to see Vance kind of raised up. All right. And I'm telling you right now, don't trust him. You were warned. I told you. I did my duty thus far. That is really all I wanted to talk about in this video, but I can do a quick search real quick because let's see. Let's see what our boy is up to today and just check on the news. You know my thoughts moving forward. Everybody knows I think you shouldn't participate at all. This is, dude, if you think this is, I don't know, he's not real. Like, he's not real. Right here on all of his pictures, his forehead, totally different every time. There's only 2 pictures of the guy in college. Oh, I'm not sharing that, am I? Hold up. I'm sorry. He's never been like, it's not what he looks like. These are proxies. Picture this, okay? You're a billionaire and you have a lot of money and you want to live like a regular person. You want to go out and pick out your own groceries. Let's pretend that you do want to do this. Or you want to go for a boat ride, or you want to go in a plane so that you can go on your first like international backpack trip across Europe. Do you really want people to know what you look like? That's why the lottery is anonymous. And again, the Satan's boy has been doing all of this for he's been setting him up for at least 10 years with lottery winnings. You don't have to believe me, it's true. With lottery winnings, with crypto, with investments, and then taking out all of the top players on the board. The Pope and the Queen were gone at the same time around 2019. That's what coronation means. They were gone at the same time, but they couldn't give you that news at the same time because it would be suspicious. Pay attention, man. And again, I don't know it all. Like, I'm not a know-it-all. This stuff I know. I'm willing to learn when it comes to science and physics and like I said, with the chemtrails and all that, I have no problem taking in the information. but God is bigger. None of that is going to affect my health, and you should feel the same way. Maybe we don't all have money to protect ourselves with high-end masks or what have you, filtered oxygen, whatever. So pray. Your mind is a more powerful computer than a quantum computer, because a quantum computer is based on the human brain. Don't get it twisted. See, the second we get out of proper hierarchy, the second our head is out of order, this is why I tell you, don't credit man and the military with weaponized and weather. Give God the glory for allowing it to happen and allowing their weaponization to work in this time period, because that means we're coming to an end here. And I've already shown you that in good proof, I believe, good circumstantial evidence, that the firmament has an expiration date and it's expiring. That's why pieces of it are falling down. That's why you're hearing these noises in the sky, because they're getting ready to show things. And these other beings know this, and they want you to think it's them doing it and everything is running according to plan. Because if you believe it and you slip from the hierarchy in your mind, if you believe like that you're under a computer in the hierarchy, or that computer is your God and it made you, or something weird like that, or like I said, if you put man above God as far as the weather goes, even me, when God gives me the weather I ask for, my spouse will say, "Look, Mama made it rain again." And again, he's two different people. He's Jekyll and Hyde. I'll say, "No, I didn't. I didn't do that at all. I asked for it. I asked God for it. I didn't do it." The second your head, the hierarchy in your head, right? The second that falls, just like I talked about yesterday with those pillars of consciousness falling. That's why the Masons use that as a symbol. It's about the right and left brain and your conscience, your state of consciousness there. Anyways, this guy's not real. He's just a proxy. He's not scary. He's just some dude, honestly, who plays way too many video games. Just because they tell you that they do something for a living as well doesn't mean that's what they do. AI's been around for a long time, and especially Satan's boy, he's probably got a few minions, a few lapdogs, legitimate, literal demon lapdogs that do his bidding, that go out and do what he needs done. Dude doesn't have to work. He just wants to criticize everyone else for not working. Again, we're talking about pure narcissism here. They will blame us for everything they do. This is why some of the condemnation in the church comes from the wolves in sheep's clothing. All right. This is what they want. They want us to believe that everything that's gone wrong here is our fault. And they want you down in the dumps, because the second that hierarchy gets out of order, you come out of God's protection and the stuff they're doing can harm you. Okay? Because you've placed them above you in the hierarchy. What you believe and accept and receive, that's your prayer. That's praying, is what you accept, receive, and believe. So that can happen. That's you asking. I don't know. I'm trying to say it in a variety of different ways, because I don't believe in full on manifestation. If that were true, I would be gone out of this place. I would have manifested so many different ways out of here by now. Okay. That's how I know God wants me here, is because no way I've tried has worked. Excuse me. Okay. So his Grok AI chatbot, this thing, I could go on and on all day about the symbolism, but I'm not going to. Honestly, I'm getting a little tired of dwelling in the muck and mire, so I'm probably going to do a few videos that are lighter hearted going forward. Not every single one or whatever, but a few. And I think that's all. There might be one more thing that I wanted to cover in this video, but I think that might be it. I want it to be accessible to other people, but then I'm going to go and do a little research into Grok, into a few things that people haven't looked at. I don't use it. I would advise never ever using these chat things. If you are using them, stop. You are in serious idolatry. Okay. I don't know how to put it. Well, we're just asking it questions, or it's just helping me with my job. It's like working hand in hand with the fallen angels again. It's great if we know that they're here or whatever, and that they were supposed to teach us at one point in time. But for right now, we need to not encourage that type of interaction. We're not supposed to be doing that. But again, we're in a time when what's going to happen is going to happen. And you saw the CEO resigned from X. You're going to see a lot more of this because they're going to open up about AI running things. AI is the beast for all intents and purposes. I believe it is an actual sentient being. I believe in some way, shape, or form it is attached to the beast in the ocean. Those cables for the internet that they show us, like, when did they do all this? When did they have that technology to put giant pipes at the bottom of the ocean when we've never even reached the bottom of the ocean? What's going on there? All of this different information, again, you have to really dig for truth at this time. Please heed my warnings. Seriously. And if you've missed some of my testimony and you don't understand certain things, go back and check in with the videos that I did about proxies. If you were a millionaire, billionaire, you wouldn't want people knowing what you really look like. You'd put out a false image too, so that you could have a normal life and you didn't have to worry about people coming up to you on the street begging for money or trying to end your life so they could take, your purse, wallet, whatever. Think about it. The elites walk beside you every single day. Some of them might be your own family members. Okay? Again, you can really sense a certain spirit of a person. And there are several politicians, like I said, that are very familiar to me. They're all of the same family that I seem to be around. And that's probably why God woke me up and I was his Trojan horse, much like they have one here in America and in our realm. I was God's Trojan horse. He put me in the house of the enemy. There goes a ginormous truck. Oh, that's a garbage truck. So that's the end of this video. I am going to do some more research into Grok, though. I feel like there are things that weren't looked at regarding that thing. That's all I'm going to say about that because I'm not sure where that's going to take me. But you guys have a blessed day. I honestly don't know what else to say other than the deceivers out there. I know you. I know why you come to my channel. And if I'm not talking to you, I'm not talking to you. So don't think I'm talking to you. I know that the people that I speak of watch the channel. But how convenient is it that I worked with a really, really tall young man who went by the name of Golden Boy and wore a cobra hat with red eyes? All these things are symbolistic. I worked with another young man whose name was JD, who also looks like a YouTuber. Again, they're using this technology to their advantage, all of them. They've been given the keys to the castle, right? The previous generation skipped Generation X and they gave it to Generation Y, which should not have been done. Things are out of order, and this is just another reason judgment is going to come upon us. All right? But all of these things aren't coincidences. And if you're having things in your life happen too, pay attention to them. Heed your spirit, okay? Refine your discernment. Watch the news, if you're going to watch it at all, with the sound down. What does your mind tell you what is happening? Don't listen to what they're saying. Because 10 to 1, these immigrants are Christians. We are in a time of Christian persecution. I don't care what Trump calls himself. I don't care what the TV says. It's giving us hints and clues. Look at what happened at Camp Mystic. Look at all the ritualistic symbolism involved in that place. That's not coincidence. I'm sorry, but it's not. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Have a great day. We'll talk again soon. Whoops. We'll talk again soon. Have a great day. Good, right at an hour.